So who is Prince's friend really? Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend, exploring music through Prince. We're coming up on 3 years of this channel being a thing. And if you go back to my very first video, it's called I Am Prince's Friend, I kind of just introduced myself very nonchalantly, very much with zero production value, and it was just me trying to introduce myself to you guys as my new community. And I thought that, with 3 years now having gone by, I should probably reintroduce myself. We've picked up a lot of subscribers in the last 3 years, and we've been growing exponentially since the start. So first off, I want to thank anybody who has subscribed to the channel. This channel would not exist without you, and I love each and every one of you who takes the time out of your day to come and share in my love of Prince. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Hit the notifications bell as well, so that you will always know when we get a new video out. So, some of you may or may not know this, but the reason why I call myself Prince's Friend is because it's a term that Prince used to use. Now, in the mid-90s, Prince stopped using the word fan for the people who listen to his music, because fan is short for fanatic, and he didn't really want any fanatical people who are crazy and obsessed listening to his music. Or rather, he didn't want to think of us that way, because we all know some of those people exist. But ever since that time in the mid-90s, I've always called myself a friend of Prince. Now, of course, some people will say, well, I mean, if you've never met him, then you can't be his friend. And while yes, literally under the dictionary term of the word friend, I guess you're probably right. However, you don't need to have met this man personally to have felt this man and feel a connection to Prince. So, I am Prince's friend, that's just how it is. And of course I've gotten the question several times of just, hey, who are you though? And it's not something that I publicize a ton, mostly because I feel like this channel has a focus, and it's not really of me. It's not me coming on here and telling you what I had for breakfast or anything like that. I feel like I have a connection with each and every one of you, of course, and that is as people and as friends of Prince. However, I ain't trying to turn this into a lifestyle vlog. But I will go ahead and say, and I've said it in several of my other videos, my name's Aloy, and I actually come from a game design and writing background. I have a gaming company where I publish RPGs. I also do writing on the side of books, which was why it was really cool that I got to contribute to a Prince book last year. But also, I do screenwriting on the side, mostly as a hobby, but you know, maybe in the future something will happen, who knows? But I've always been a very creative person, and Prince has always been there as my #1 guy since the very beginning. Since I was 11. And it's crazy to think that that was almost 30 years ago that I first picked up a Prince album. And it's so weird, because my very first album was Graffiti Bridge, and it actually wasn't mine, it was my mom's, because my mom had been listening to Prince for years, and she picked up Graffiti Bridge. And what happened was I was listening to one of her Prince CDs, I believe it was Purple Rain, and I said, hey, this sounds pretty cool, like what is this? And she kind of explained to me who Prince was, and I was kind of like, okay, I guess that sounds pretty good. I like his music, if nothing else. And she said, well, you know, I just bought his new one. Why don't you go listen to his new one? So I grabbed it, and essentially in that exchange, her CD became mine. And I started blasting Graffiti Bridge from the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep. It was such a great album, which was where I kind of jumped on board for Prince. And ever since then, I started kind of getting really into just the message and the music and everything. So I started doing my own research, and I decided that I wanted to start at the beginning of his career and work my way up to this sound that I'd never heard before, didn't sound like anything else. So I went out and I bought For You, and I brought it home, and I opened it up, and I stuck it in my CD player, and just immediately was kind of I know what you were thinking. You were going to be like, you fell in love. But the thing about it was comparing Graffiti Bridge to For You is a completely different thing. But I realized that I was going to get there. So I started learning the lyric. I actually had the long form CD boxes, and I put them up as posters on my walls, and it was my wall of Prince, and that was how I knew what album I was on. And I listened to these things and spent hours and weeks and so long transcribing lyrics that I heard but couldn't figure out what they were, and I was getting just so into the music. And then after For You, I bought Prince, and then I bought Dirty Mind, and then I bought Controversy, and every time I was done consuming, I felt like I had gotten everything I needed from that album. I moved on to the next. And what that did is it gave me an appreciation for the journey that Prince took to get to where he was. And it all culminated with me finally getting, on Christmas Day, a new boombox that had a CD player in it, because until that point I was just using my mom's, and a copy of Diamonds and Pearls that had just come out. And I didn't buy it yet because I still wasn't technically done consuming all of Batman when it came out. But my mom bought it for me because she knew it was the next album that I was going to buy, and it was the new one, and I about hyperventilated, and I was like, like, it was like the best Christmas ever when I got Diamonds and Pearls. Now that's kind of funny today because Diamonds and Pearls is not necessarily one of my all-time favorite Prince albums. But there is a reason why I am more of a 90s Prince friend than I am into the 80s and whatnot, because I jumped in the 90s. While everybody who loved him in the 80s was jumping off and saying his sound is changing too much, I was like, no, this is the sound that I'm here for. So it's a little bit of a different story. And obviously when I graduated high school in 1997, this was also the time when he was doing his Jam of the Year tour, and he was coming through Tampa, which I think he only ever came through Tampa one other time in his the entire rest of my life. But he came through Tampa, and me and my mom went, and we shared that moment together because she was the one that got me into Prince, and I had just graduated, and it was her present to me that I finally get to see this man live that I had been listening to for all these years. And I literally went like 2 years of my life where I listened to nothing but Prince, day in, day out. And it wasn't until like grunge music and alternative music that it kind of knocked me out of that, and I started opening myself up to new music. And that's kind of the next thing that I want to discuss is this channel is primarily about Prince, but it's not 100% about Prince. I'd say it's 80 to 85% about Prince. But the tagline that I've been using and I started using for the channel more sums up my feelings about this channel. It's exploring music through Prince. So yes, it is mostly about Prince's music and his proteges and news about the estate and new releases and all of these things, discussions about Prince and how he changed the industry. We've had a lot of fun with those sorts of things. But it's also about examining new musicians, new artists, and being able to look at them through the lens of somebody who listens to Prince. Prince listened to other artists too, and he was always looking for a new artist to take on as a protege, to teach something, to help them get a leg up in the industry and teach them the right way to do things. And I feel like if all you do is listen to Prince, then you're missing out on a world of other possibilities of other music that's out there. Especially with the advent of the internet, there's a million different options available for you out there. And that's why I also do reviews for non-Prince musicians and talented artists. We recently did a review for Gary Clark Jr. I've done one for the Smashing Pumpkins. I did one for Fiona Apple. We've done a lot of them, and every single one of them has been an amazing adventure into looking how not only Prince influenced the industry of how a lot of these people are self-made and they do everything themselves, but also through Prince, we've learned what real music can sound like. Music where you're unfettered and you have complete control over what you want to do. And I want to celebrate that in not only Prince, but other people as well. So hopefully, after watching this video, you get a better sense of who I am, why we're here to explore Prince's legacy and beyond. But also, I hope that you feel a little bit closer to me, because you all have shared so many of your amazing stories in the comments and on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm pretty active on social media, so I talk with a lot of you pretty much every day. And I just wanted to share a little bit more of myself with you guys. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Don't forget to hit the like button. Follow me on social media at PrincessFriendYT on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And check out the Patreon, patreon.com/princessfriend. The Patreon is super critical for us continuing the channel and really being able to continue evolving the channel. So check out patreon.com/princessfriend if you want more information. Otherwise, may you live to see the dawn. I love you all. See you in the next video.